Hello again. Welcome to American Movie Classics. I'm Bob Dorian. Today's Monday, and our Marilyn Monroe double feature today shows just how good a comedian Marilyn really was. In our first feature, the zany fountain of youth comedy Monkey Business, she steals the show as Charles Coburn's not-too-bright secretary. Cary Grant and Ginger Rogers, the stars. Then Marilyn and Jane Russell light up the screen in a flashy Technicolor musical called Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It's romance on the high seas as two showgirls try to catch up with a rich husband. Now, here's the answer to yesterday's movie question. Entrepreneur Howard Hughes was known for his eccentric tastes and strange habits. What do you think his favorite movie was? Well, it was a North Pole submarine Cold War adventure film called Ice Station Zebra. It starred Rock Hudson and Ernest Borgnine. And Hughes ran it so often, they say he ran it over 150 times, that he had memorized all of the dialogue. Now, just think of that for a minute. How did he ever have time to go out and make all that money? I have another question for you later, and I'll be back to tell you more about our first feature right after this.
Spring. What a young man's fancy turns to chemistry. And when Ray Milan discovers a formula for strikeouts...
Wow! What kind of a ball was that?
You've got the ingredients for a surefire hit.
He's done it. Now he's done it. He's such a no-hit, no-run game.
This is getting monotonous, boys.
It happens every spring.
I'm really going to enjoy this.
Tuesday on American Movie Classics.
When will you come back from Madrid?
When I'm the greatest hero in the world.
One woman's devotion
Well, how do I look?
Like a king.
becomes another woman's conquest.
Senora Gallardo, is anything I can offer you? Yes. My husband. Oh?
Rita Hayworth, Tyrone Power, and Linda Darnell in the passionate and romantic classic Blood and Sand. Thursday on American Movie Classics.
It's not real when it's light. It's only real when it's dark.
The incomparable Bette Davis. Witness her versatility as a crazed spinster in Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, a lonely monarch in The Virgin Queen, and a bedridden widow in Phone Call from a Stranger.
It was from him I learned what love really was.
It's a Bette Davis Film Festival, May 18th through 20th at 9:30 p.m. on American Movie Classics.
In Monkey Business, the film we're about to see, two of the performers were having problems with their confidence. For Cary Grant, the crisis was a temporary one. For Marilyn Monroe, it was a very serious and a permanent condition. Back in the early 50s, Cary Grant was thinking of retiring. He starred in Crisis and People Will Talk, two serious dramatic pictures that really hadn't done terribly well at the box office. Well, he was discouraged and was beginning to doubt his abilities, and then Monkey Business came along. It was one of those screwball comedies, very much like the ones that he had done in the 30s and 40s. And it was directed by Howard Hawks, one of his favorite directors. They worked together on 4 other movies that had all become classics, really. So instead of retiring, he decided to concentrate on making people laugh, which was something that Cary Grant could always do very, very well. Now, Marilyn Monroe's crisis of confidence was a lot more serious. Director Howard Hawks said that he found her to be a very frightened little girl, really, who was afraid to come onto the set. Hawks said that with each movie Marilyn Monroe made, she became more and more and more frightened. Eventually, she got to the point where she couldn't work at all because she didn't think that she was good enough. I think you'll find that she was more than good enough in this movie as Lois Laurel, the empty-headed secretary, who at one point is the only sane person in the whole cast. Monkey Business was a lot of fun to make for Cary Grant as leading lady Ginger Rogers. However, the classic line that's usually quoted from this movie belongs to Charles Coburn. Now, if you don't know the line, I don't want to spoil it for you by telling it to you, but it's something that he says to Marilyn Monroe, so you may want to look for it and listen for it. Let's see what happens when Cary Grant and Ginger Rogers engage in a little monkey business.